If you're new to the page, welcome. I'm Julie Samaco, owner of Southern Charm Wreaths, where we make beautiful wreaths and teach you how to make and sell them. Today we're going to be making a lantern swag, so stay tuned. Make sure to follow and subscribe to my Facebook page as well as my YouTube channel if you're watching the replay over on YouTube. This is my inspiration, was this wreath right here. So I made this for my Etsy shop, and it's always good to make some matching pieces to it. So I thought, let's make a lantern swag. And here is my lantern. This is going to be a 20-inch. So this is a 20-inch lantern. This is always the tricky part, just lining it up. I'm going to go ahead and take these leaves off. And line it up, bend right here. Now what we could do is feed him right down underneath our hydrangea. I love this hydrangea. It is so realistic. I don't want to cover up my lemons. So if I don't think that the leaves are going to work, I just cut these off. What we're doing is we are sort of zigzagging back and forth down the spray, and what we want to also make sure is the larger items stay closer to the top. So that's going to be our beautiful hydrangea. You're almost hand tying a little arrangement in your hand. And here again we've got our leaves that I don't want. So I'm just going to trim those off on the bottom. Once I like the position of this, I'm going to grab a zip tie and zip tie. So we've got that tight. And if you need to add some more wire, you can do some bind wire towards the end. So I can wire these two to get together down here if I need to, which is perfect. A perfect use to the bind wire. So one of the things I always see, not always, but sometimes see people make a mistake of putting really large flowers towards the end of their lantern swags or their sprays, and you want to make sure that you're putting the larger flowers towards the top. All right, so now that's going to stay, and I'm just going to give it some little lift, a little bit of lift in the flowers. Now what we want to do is add another little spray at the top. So we're going to look at what we have. We've got our hydrangea. I want another hydrangea up here at the top. So we're going to lay that there. This is a really pretty thing to do for if you have somebody getting married, if you want it for your garden party, or if you you don't even have to use it for a lantern. You can use it for putting on the side of your mailbox or on a lamp. I've seen people do that. And we need another zip tie. I've been busy cleaning out my office today, all the filing. I was running out of filing room. It's amazing how much a business can generate. The paperwork. Oh my gosh, so much paperwork. So we're just going to put these two right here together. Let me go ahead and trim off these to make them even. We want to put that right there. And I'll zip tie these together. Put this in. So we've got that on here. These are zip tied together. If you need more than one zip tie, you might want to add another one. So this is what we have. Looks kind of funny, doesn't it? The next thing I'm going to do is add a bow. So if your lantern isn't this tall, you're going to have to readjust everything. You'll need, probably smaller flowers, definitely not as long. The main goal is not to cover up your lantern. You don't want to cover up the whole thing. You've got to pay attention to the scale. All right, I've seen sometimes a lot of people making these lantern swags and you barely can see the lantern, let alone if you put anything in it. So always remember that you've got to be able to see what's inside of it, and that's a good rule of thumb. If you are still a little worried about the scaling, make sure that you err on the side of caution, and it's better to be too small than it is to be too big. The first thing I'm going to do is just measure out my streamer towards the back right there, and then I'm going to pinch. I'm going to measure out a little 12-inch streamer, so that makes a 6-inch loop. And let me have it come around the back. And then I'm going to trim this. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. 12. And we'll do one more bow. And then trim. I like to use Foursquare, but if you want to use pipe cleaner, you can do that. And I'm going to flip it over and lift up my finger and secure. We're going to add this to our spray that we've hand tied. All right, so now what we're going to do is trim off our wire. So here is the tail that we want to go down towards the bottom. I'm just going to go ahead and put a little dovetail on this one and a little dovetail on this one. I'm just going to use some of my glue tape and use that right there. Here we go. Yeah, last night we had fun in our Wreath of the Month Club group. We made a lemon wreath. I'll show you that after we're done. Then at this point you can trim off any of these long stems that are still sticking out. And here is where you can glue now some of the leaves, just to cover up your mechanics so that we can't see that. It's just a nice little finishing touch, in my opinion. Very professional when you take the time to cover up your mechanics. Okay, now I need my rustic wire. I like to use rustic wire to secure it onto my lantern. And the rest of the designing pretty much takes place on the lantern. So we put it up on the lantern and I try to determine where to put the wire. Like, I don't want it up too high. I want it down a little lower. So I'm going to put the wire right here, right above the bow. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this. And this is what we have. And a lot of times people stop here. We want to take the time to shape it and bend it towards the lantern so that it's not so, you know, wings out flying. So I always turn it around. And I'm going to go ahead and start shaping this. Going to grab my needle nose and pull that flower up just a little bit. Okay, and let's do the other one. And now I'm just going to reposition some of these streamers. Going to dovetail our streamers. Just by angling this down towards the lantern, it just gives it a little bit more of a natural look. So the next thing we're going to do is also do the same thing for the top, which means I need to just bend. Let me look at that. So that looks good. All right, the next thing I do is take off those little extra pieces. Well, let's keep this. I might need it. We've got another lemon, and I've got a little white flower, and I've got leaves. Can't lose these. And then we've also got our hydrangea leaves that we used, remember? And I try to figure out where I can put these items that will help the piece blend all together. So it looks like I can put a little white flower over here. So this is what I like to go back in and hot glue pieces right into the bow loops. Just going to sandwich that in and hold it into place. So let me just find a place for my lemon. So there's a couple places I can put it. I can wire it right here, just like that, or I could put it up here to kind of have a couple more lemon pieces up at the top. So it's really up to you. I think I'm going to go ahead and just wire down here. If I find that there's just too many green leaves, I sometimes cut those out. Try not to cut anything else. There, so we've got our lemons going down the front. And here is when I can hot glue some of these leaves that I have. Ow, that hurt. Don't get burnt. Okay, there's one there. So you can see I added a little leaf right there. And let's see if there's another leaf we can cut off. If not, we'll just use, I think what I'm going to do is cut off some of this airy greenery right here, because we can't really see it. It's behind everything. There. And then I'll glue this up there in the bow. So you're really just bringing some of the greenery throughout the bow. The other thing too is I'm not gluing this onto the lantern. I'm only gluing it to the bow. So this can be, I don't ship the lantern, I only ship my swag. So that way, if somebody wants to use it on another, you know, switch it out for seasons, maybe they want something for patriotic, they can do that. If you like to have your ribbon showing a little bit more, because this is a little bit greener and lusher than what I normally have, you can have it drape in front like this. You could see it just a little bit more. And this is our piece right here. So now what you could do inside of your lantern to stage it either for a photo, or maybe this is something that you want to use at home, you could put a little bird's nest, maybe, you know, a succulent, or you know, more lemons down in the bottom of your lantern. But it turned out really pretty. So you could see how it just drapes down over the lantern, and here is the top. So, so cute. So now it matches our wreath. Let me show you the one we made yesterday. This is one that we made in our Wreath Making of the Month Club group. Remember, we have a special going on right now. If you want to join, use coupon code Let's Make and learn how to make these stunning creations, as well as where I get supplies. We'll be making a wreath tomorrow. We're going to talk about we always talk about coloring, texture, form, spacing, all of the important things that every wreath needs to have to make it over the top, spectacular, and designer. So this is one that we made in our Wreath of the Month Club last night. So join us using the coupon code Let's Make, and receive $10 off your subscription for the first 6 months of your membership. But this was really fun to make, all of the fun lemons. All right, thanks guys for joining me. I hope y'all have a safe and healthy rest of the week. Blessings to you. You are a blessing to me. I'm praying for everyone's safety. Bye.